over to the website and more. Now let's get the call-in line through Podbean popping, and we should be good to go on all three major levels. Let's go ahead and start the show. The levels is good. The levels is good. The levels is good. What a boy. Levels. Hey, levels. What the fuck just happened to my levels? Okay. Let's see something here. Alright, let's try this back again. Ay, coño! I hate when this happens. What the fuck is going on my laptop? Okay, we have to take a quick pause because apparently something doesn't want to work well. Let's go ahead and try it like this. I guess we have to do this the hard way, and not even just the hard way. The hard way and the semi-dry way. That's gonna suck, but we gonna get it together. Alright, so let's go ahead and start the podcast the way that you guys know that the podcast should be started.
Okay. Big man, you wanna hear some hot takes? Let's see how woke you are. You know something about podcasts? Hell, dígame. You kidding me or what, man? I got these three drunk uncles with a sports podcast. They say they got fire takes, pure fuego. You find them wherever you listen to podcasts at. If it's what they say it is, you like and you subscribe. Listen, like, and subscribe, yeah. You know how to call into the show? Yeah, man, do the Podbean app. You'll need headphones with a mic to call in. That's no problem, man. They'll also be at Sharky's, 8:07 p.m. on the first Wednesdays of the month. You may get some free Blue Chew. And they keep receipts, so if anything happens in the sports world, MyT's gonna drop a take faster than a rabbit gets fucked. There's only three things I have in this world: my word, my balls, and this podcast. And I don't break them for nobody. MyT Sports Season 7.
Oh shit, I think that's my cue. Alright, let's go. Good evening and welcome back to another edition of the MyT Sports Podcast. I am your host, the one and only Untitled Chapter. It is another in Fuego day in the hottest city in the world. It is officially March 14th. It is another beautiful Monday, right? They said we gonna have a high today of 80 degrees, low today of 71. You know, none of that shit don't even really matter to us. Nah, we ain't gonna do that shit. We gonna fuck around and make somebody sick. Alrighty, folks, but we got a big show coming up for you today. Alright, this is Season 7, Episode 75, Excerpt 408 of the MyT Sports Podcast. Big show coming up for you guys today. Right, I'm sorry, I gotta say this, only because you guys know where I'm from and how I feel, but fuck Tom Brady. We got that coming up. We got LeBron James dropping a 50-piece. We gonna talk about Blue Chew. We may talk about Randall. We'll talk about LeBron James 50-piece. I said that already. We're gonna talk about Rexing and how Pop is leading. We're gonna get into the NBA MVP talk, our tea of the weekend, our Knicks talk, the NFL, NFC, and how it is gonna be shaped up. We're gonna talk a little bit about taxes, since tax season is right around the way. Drop you a little tax, some tax commercial tax knowledge, whatever the fuck you want to call it. We gonna have all that and more. You know, we got the birthday shout outs. We have everything for you guys, right? But you know what we say here on the podcast, right? Regardless of the time.
Take that.
And regardless of the weather.
You play to win the game. Hello?
it's always a good time to talk some sports. So let's start talking. Woo! Back at it like a sports fanatic. MyT Sports. Whew. Let me get a little sip of my drink. If this is your first time here, I welcome you to the podcast, to the MyT Sports Podcast. If you've been here before, then you guys know how we do. I got a couple of sports events going on in the background. I'm still watching old episodes of Naruto, so I'm watching that shit too. As well as this do I still have the Cleveland game on? I had the Cleveland game on earlier. I may currently have the Atlanta game on. I'm pretty sure I'm going to change that pretty soon. I just want to see Atlanta lose, hopefully, right? We have that going on, folks. We're about to start our podcast off. You know how we get into the beginning of the podcast. This is Monday. So you know we start off every single Monday podcast with a little bit of tea of the weekend. After the tea of the... Actually, I'm tripping. We start every single podcast with a birthday celebration. My bad. What's in my drink? Okay. We start off every podcast with a birthday celebration, and since this is Monday, we're gonna go right from the birthday celebration into the tea of the weekend, and then we'll get into the rest of the news that has been popping up and catching our eye of the weekend. We got a nice little 2-hour podcast heading your way. Hope you are ready for this trip. Hey yo, DJ MyT, I need to do me a little quick favor if you don't mind, right? What I'm gonna need you to do, as my boy Chill will say, Ayo DJ MyT, go ahead and drop that beat for me. You know that beat means, folks. If you've been here before, you already know. Oh shit, let me get the podbean people on, right? So we can get the call-in hotline. Yeah, we know we got the call-in hotline through Podbean. Podbean is what we utilize to connect to everybody around the world and get them in and joining on the podcast. Just make sure those phone lines are open. Check it. Yeah, check it. Yeah, you know how this goes. If it's your first time listening to the podcast, it's not a hard birthday song for you to catch on to. If you've been here before, let's go ahead and sing along one time so the people at home can understand what we go to. Yeah, because what we do here in this segment is that what we like to do is wish everybody had a happy birthday since the last time that we was on air. And this is everybody had a birthday on Saturday and Sunday and today. Let's go. Sway. Because, yeah, it's your birthday. We said it's your birthday. Check it, yeah. Check it, yeah. Because it's your birthday, we sing happy birthday. Check it, yeah. Check it, yeah. Did you guys catch that? Did you guys catch all that? I told you it wasn't a hard birthday song to catch on to, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and run that back one more time for everybody else out there. This is gonna be for everybody new and everybody old, and then we're gonna get right into it. One more time, because, yeah, it's your birthday. We said it's your birthday. Check it, yeah. Check it, yeah. We said happy birthday because it's your birthday. Check it, yeah. Check it, yeah. Alright, well, we ain't had no birthdays on the 12th. We got no birthdays today. So the only person we wishing a happy birthday to is one Brett Rowley. Brett Rowley happened to be an individual that I worked with while I was doing play-by-play for the Jupiter Hammerheads. And it was the Jupiter Hammerheads and something Palm Beach Cardinals? Is that what you call yourself? Yeah, Jupiter Hammerheads and Palm Beach Cardinals. Right, I worked with him back then, you know, all in affiliation with Connecticut School of Broadcasting, you know what I mean? I'm helping individuals in the South Florida area go ahead and chase and achieve their media careers and dreams, folks. Right, so I want to say happy birthday to Brett Rowley. So you know how we do it. I want to say happy birthday. Hope you party hard. Hope you enjoy everything. But more importantly, hope you get your weekend at Birdies on and you continue to stay MyT. Happy birthday, Brett. Let that breathe a little bit. Y'all go ahead and sing that happy birthday. I'm about to fuck up a taco. I'm sorry. I tried to make this into a rap, and this motherfucker did not work. That shit greased straight through. Yo, yo, I'm still about to fuck this shit up. Like, I'm about to make this shit, I'm about to put this shit in half. So cut this shit in half so it's easier to pick the fuck up. Put a spoon underneath that bitch. Y'all see this shit. Yeah. My baby made this for me. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now that we've done all that, hey yo, DJ MyT, you know what to do here. Do me a favor. Cut the beat. Alright. You watched on that, but really, that shit was rough. I ain't not rough, right? I would say it was tasty, but you know how that shit go. I ain't really chew that motherfucker. Kind of this bit and I swallowed, which should never be anybody's advice when doing the do. You understand what we're talking about? That's a little bit weird. So, folks, let's go ahead and get straight into the tea of the weekend because you know what we do here. We like to spotlight, right? Send a little send a little bomb into the drop zone and spotlight every little thing. The little things from the weekend happen to catch our eye. So as it goes right now, I see my sugars already popping on the podbean feed, right? So what we're going to do right now, we're going to get into the tea of the weekend.
Bing bong.
Alrighty, folks. First thing on the tea of the weekend. Apparently, Tom Brady has reneged on his retirement. And
I'm from New York, and you know what? Tom Brady's a fucking bitch.
It took Tom Brady 8 weeks for him to get sick of his millionaire supermodel wife.
Danger zone.
And a man bids $500,000 for Tom Brady's last touchdown pass.
Where the bread at, Tom Brady? I need some bread, nigga. He owe me.
I don't know how that's going to work since he came out of retirement. I don't think that's his last touchdown pass anymore. Greg Popovich, all-time winningest coach.
Fun guy.
Deshaun Watson, cleared of all criminal charges. Deshaun Watson already has multiple, and we mean multiple, like more than one, like more than two, like more than three, like more than four suitors.
Anything possible!
Jags wide receiver Christian Kirk, 4 years, $84 million.
Damn. I'm sorry.
Brooklyn Nets, they win 3 straight.
We're streaking!
Who's streaking?
There's more coming. Everybody's doing it.
Raptors, 3 straight. Grizzlies, 3 straight. Warriors, 3 straight. But that's not all. Wizards, 3 straight L's. Pistons, 3 straight L's. And eliminated from the playoffs. Kings, 4 straight L's. There we go. And the all-time leader in straight L's goes to OKC with
5 times 5 time, 5 time, 5 time, 5 time.
But nonetheless, everybody is.
We're streaking.
Streaking.
There's more coming. Everybody's doing it.
Everybody is doing it. LeBron James, 50 points, or 50 drops, or drops 50, versus the Bullets. You may know them better off as the Wizards.
So can I have please a 50-piece, not 51, not 49 chicken minis, yes, 50. And let me have a large drink, no ice, half Sprite, half lemonade. Thank you.
My pleasure. And then can I have
Oh man.
a large?
LeBron James leads all scorers this year. I told you. I tried to warn you.
I'm gonna take my talents to South Beach because I'm the best player in the world.
I have a huge basketball IQ.
And I want my damn respect too.
Jarvis Landry out. Amari Cooper in.
The ceiling is the roof.
That may have been a little backwards. I don't know. I don't think that should have been the right one there. I'm telling you right now, that shouldn't have been right. That went right one there. That should have been.
Cleveland! This is for you!
That sounds a whole lot better. Let's try that again. Jarvis Landry out. Amari Cooper in.
Cleveland! This is for you!
There we go. That sounds a lot better. NBA MVP race is a tight one. And now Jordan, say your thing.
The ceiling is the roof.
Thank you. Thoughts and prayers to, or thoughts and prayers, or with, love you too, baby, the bad guy, Razor Ramon.
Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do. What can I say? Mamba out.
And that, folks, is your tea of the weekend. And now,
What can I say? Mamba out.
and folks, you don't have to make sure that you are out. Because when you use something that we have here called Blue Chew. What is Blue Chew, folks? Blue Chew just happens to be a little blue pill that can get you back your thrill. All you have to do is open up a pack and head straight to the sack. Just a few chews before you do. This little blue pill has the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so this is one opportunity that you really just can't miss. For a very low cost, you can beat it up like a boss. And she's gonna love how you come through like a champ when you Blue Chew in advance. So, So all you need to do is use my promo code of TADJ, that's Tango Alpha Delta Juliet, and you'll be able to get your first order of Blue Chew for free from the folks directly at MyT. It's free on us. The only thing you have to do is pay $5 for shipping and handling. Make sure you take care of your postal workers. They out there making sure your dick gets hard on whether it's raining, sleeting, snow, or hail. You know what I mean? They doing all that shit. So pay your postal workers. Because when you get your order, there's really going to be only 2 requirements. Isn't that right, baby? Only 2 requirements once you get the Blue Chew. You chew it, and then you do it. And then you do it, and you do it, and you're doing it well. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and move on to the, I guess, if you want to call it, the major topic. God. I'm just letting you guys know right now. Like, I'm about to do this, right? And we about to go through this together. But I am telling you right now, I can't say I'm particularly thrilled or happy that this is the first topic that we have to talk about, especially on a day like today. But
First things first.
Tom Brady's returned. Tom Brady is back in the NFL. He has reneged on his retirement. And if you feel like, damn, T, I ain't gonna lie, B, I thought that you may be a little bit more excited to hear, you know, as a sports fan, that is, right, that Tom Brady is back in the NFL. But for those that don't know me, there's really one thing that all I can say about that, and that is,
I'm from New York, and you know what? Tom Brady's a fucking bitch.
I'm from New York, and Tom Brady's a fucking bitch. That's how we feel about him in New York. I'm sorry. And I think that he would perfectly understand that, right? Being in the same division all these years, beating up on the Jets all these years, you know, stopping them from having winning records or advancing in the playoffs or any of other multiples of ways they have found a way to embarrass my New York Jets. You know what I mean? So I don't have to be happy that he's back. I really don't. I just want to see the Golden State Warriors. I just want to see the Washington Wizards lose, to be honest with you. What are you about to play? They playing Golden State? Yeah. When that game comes on, I'm just watching that game to see Washington lose. I need Washington to lose their games. I need Atlanta to lose their games. I think there's another team I need to lose their games to, Charlotte. We're gonna be keeping up on all 3 of those games, folks. And if you're wondering why do I want those 3 teams to constantly lose games, I'm a Knicks fan. And we'll get into that a little bit later when we get into our Knicks talk segment of the day. We'll probably talk Knicks in the 2nd hour, probably in the 3rd hour, depending on how today goes. To be honest with you, it's a hell of a Monday. It's a hell of a Monday because Tom Brady returns, and just like his retirement that was hinted towards or announced, whatever the fuck you want to call it, all right? It kind of stole the show, didn't it? Like, Tom Brady announced his retirement, I think, the day of the... It was the night of something. I can't remember exactly what was going on that night. But it was supposed to be something special going on that night. And Tom Brady definitely stole the show that day by announcing his retirement. Well, kind of the same thing happened in this regard, too, is that here we go, going about our NFL offseason, right? Coming down to the last 15 games of the NBA regular season, right? Baseball announcing their lockout is over. Teams starting to make moves, right? For the NFL pre-tampering stage, right? Or their pre-negotiation stage, whatever the fuck we want to call it. Legal tampering. Let's just call it pre-negotiations, right? During their pre-negotiation stage, excuse me, Tom Brady goes ahead and drops a nice little bomb, and he decides that, you know what? I'm going to renege on my retirement. And you guys all know, I'm using the word renege for a reason, because if you ever had a partner, if you ever played spades and you had a partner that reneged, right, then you probably don't want to play with them again. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like, apparently football players have different standards than spades players do. But Tom Brady, he reneges and he kind of steals the off season. But in a weird way, this whole entire off season, he's been leaving the door open. In a weird way, he never really fully closed it. Kind of put on for like, we'll see what happens. We'll see how things go on. He kind of like played with the facts a little bit of him retirement. Always using the type of verbiage, right, that left you wondering. Little hidden messages. Like you hear him talking about his family and be like, yeah, I've been doing this for 8 weeks with them. You know, just kind of getting up, going to the grocery store, being around the house, sweeping, mopping, watching TV, playing golf with so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. But you can hear him perfectly, like, so I watch Shugs.
What are you looking at?
Detail.
I'm
You,
kidding.
sexiest woman in the room.
Hi guys.
Right, perfect. Miguel lot. Perfectly detail all of his experiences that he's been having for the past 8 weeks. And she was on the chair. I was gonna try to keep her on camera, but she went down.
Hi, Poopy. Mommy home.
So you can hear him and you hear him talking about his family life as if it's hard for him to be home and deal with his family all the time. And let me explain to you, right? Because let me ask you fellas, or even you ladies, right? But let me ask you fellas this. Everybody, and you see, this is how you know I'm a realist, because I don't want Tom Brady's life. I don't like Tom Brady. I don't want shit to do with Tom Brady. And from what we can see, Tom Brady barely likes his life. How many guys out there would willfully go home and spend time at home if waiting for them was a millionaire supermodel wife? Multi-millionaire. One of the top gross in supermodels in the world kind of shit. But let's not even have to put her on the highest pedestal of all models. Let's just say you was just dating a multi-millionaire supermodel. How many of you guys are going to find it hard to want to go home every day? Well, just to let you know. See? Don't matter how much money you have. Don't matter how good you think you look. See, even as a supermodel, somebody could be tired of your ass with millions of dollars. That's all we're saying. Like, so when you find somebody that willing to deal with you, I'm just saying, because Tom Brady has a multi-millionaire supermodel wife at home, and he is like, you know what? I'd rather get my brain bashed in by these 300-pound guys that are running 4 or 5 speeds. I'd rather look at jock straps and saggy man ass than be at home with my wife and kids. That's literally what he says. I'd rather do anything but be at home with my supermodel, multi-million dollar worth earning wife. So Tom Brady comes back. And automatically as he comes back, you realize that this is a shake of the market, right? This completely shakes the market. But before we get into how to shake the market, you hear Tom Brady talking about, as he returns, that he wants to do this on his own terms. His own terms, right? This is so, like, your own terms is such a funny phrase, right? Because really when you're talking about your own terms, we really know what this means. You can either take the window or you can take the stairs to get the fuck out. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we mean. You either take the windows or the stairs. You take the stairs, that's really you leaving on your own terms. You get to walk away from the game. But when he says his own terms, and he just had the opportunity to walk away from the game, what does he really mean? Unfinished business. Ah, there it goes. He wants to walk out winning. Well, guess what, Thomas? You had that opportunity. And yes, I call him Thomas, because for those that don't know and are new to the podcast, you know.
I'm from New York, and you know what? Tom Brady's a fucking bitch.
So, Thomas, you had that opportunity to walk away from the game 2 years ago on top. So now we go to revisit own terms. You thought you was going to win every single year because you had this ridiculous stacked team and Hall of Fame talent almost at every position. And the moment you lost one guy, Antonio Brown, you couldn't do anything else with your team? So what you mean by own terms? What does own terms mean? Because you keep this up, you're not leaving on your own terms. Because what it sounds now, because you had the perfect opportunity twice. You could have just walked away normally, or you could have just walked away as a champion. So now when you keep coming back and you say your own terms, it makes it sound like, yo, you either want to win a Super Bowl or you want to be knocked out of the game. It's either you go out winning on top or you want to be carried out. And we already heard Giselle Brunson, Brady, whatever the fuck her name is. You already heard her a couple years ago talking about, yeah, he's concussed all the time. He has multiple concussions. You know what I mean? Every edit she tried to double like, oh, everybody's concussed. Nah, pimpin', not everybody. Just your husband, a whole lot. And it's unknown. Because he hides it well. Or that whole New England system was partly to keep Tom Brady's injuries hidden. So that you wouldn't know. Maybe that's why Tom Brady was always on the injury list with something minuscule like a pinky when it was really his head. This man sounds kind of crazy, but not that crazy, right? Because as much as we all hate Tom Brady, we all understand the competitor in him, right? Or if you've played sports before, if you've been competitive before, right? Army maybe, you know, or if you just have a competitive nature, then you can understand Tom Brady wanted to come back. You can understand him wanting to come back big time. I hear somebody coming into the room. Yeah, you get it. Like, I'm not happy about it, but well, we get it. But at this point, I'm looking at Tom Brady and I'm like, B, you're gonna have to hang this up. Again, there's only two real options left for you. See, he says he wants to leave on his own terms. His own terms was really laid out for him if he really wanted to leave the way he wanted to leave. He could have left after his Super Bowl 2 years, but he hung on 1 year too long. And next thing you know, he's being made a meme out of, sitting there on the ground pouting. And then after 8 weeks of being with his supermodel millionaire wife, he's like, fuck this, I can't stand this bitch anymore, I gotta go. Sorry, not calling anybody a bitch, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Again, he had a supermodel, multi-millionaire wife at home. And even he said, yeah, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Don't matter, ladies. It don't matter. So he went and followed his true love, which is football. See, his wife and his kids, that's the second love of his life. His true number one love is football. And he's not willing to give up on football until football has given up on him. And at this point, that really means either he wins a Super Bowl so he can retire on top and really walk out like, yo, I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Yes, I am, yes, I am, yes, I am. Or he gets knocked out like an early Tyson opponent. They just put him on his ass bag. And next thing you know, they're over there pulling out the stretcher. We're taking a 15-minute pause in the middle of a meaningless game to go ahead and remove Tom Brady from the field as his body looks stiff like a goddamn log. And then he'll be like, oh, I guess it's time for me to retire because you've been knocked out of the game. You know what? It's a weird thing. Like, you know what it is? Because Tom Brady really could have left. In the military, we call it survivor's guilt, right? Which is a real thing, right? That you call it survivor's guilt, that you had members of your unit that went to war and died, and yet you survived. Like you had people that you guys all trained together, went through the trenches together, and they died, but you survived. And now you feel like you have to like keep doing something. Like, I feel like Tom Brady in a weird way, he has survivor's guilt where he can't just walk away from the game willfully. He can't walk away in the game with all of his faculties. He's like, if I'm gonna walk out of this motherfucker, I gotta be leaving here drooling out my lip, talking like a dick to D. No offense. So here we go. Here we are. So Mark, I see you in there, Mark. You with me, Mark? One of my co-hosts, Mark, is here. Mark, are you with me? Mark, you with me? All right, look like Mark may be having technical difficulties. Look, they have all kinds of technical difficulties these days. Hey, yo, Shugs, can you hear me on Podbean? Shugs, could you hear me on Podbean? When you first signed on, could you hear me? Okay. Just want to make sure. All right. So that means that Mark should be able to hear me. He's just non-responsive right now. He may still be in the kitchen cooking up that, you know. So now Tom Brady is back, right? Back in the league on his own terms. And it shakes up the market, right? It brings a massive change to what could possibly now be elite destinations, right? Because Tom Brady is back. Remember, see, just a week ago, we were talking about all of these destinations for players and maybe even quarterbacks to go to, but really a bunch of players to go to, skilled players, linebackers, cornerbacks, wide receivers, running backs, DBs, right? We were trying to figure out, okay, where can these guys now start going to? Because we've started seeing a shift, right? Green Bay, they kept their quarterback. Dallas, they keep their quarterback, right? We see Denver get a new quarterback. Right? There's a new slew of new destinations out there. And then what ended up happening is that as we're looking at all of these fine destinations, and you wonder, okay, who's going to be the next team to win a Super Bowl? Who's going to be that next super team? Who's going to be the next team that players are going to want to go to? Like, for instance, if you're Jarvis Landry, who got recently let go by the Cleveland Cavaliers. If you're him, where do you want to go? See, before you had a couple of your highlighted destinations, right? These are all higher destinations, but there's a difference between just good destinations and championship destinations. And I feel like we had Buffalo, even maybe not even so much Buffalo. Maybe Buffalo we could elevate to maybe a championship destination, maybe. But we had the Chargers, right? The Baltimore Ravens, and maybe even Buffalo a little bit, right? As great destination that you want to that people just want to keep going to, and seeing how much if I can go there and help make this team a difference to win a championship. Can you imagine Jarvis Landry with Stephon Diggs to go along with the other weapons that they have on offense for Buffalo, or even one of the young teams with Baltimore or the Chargers, as you see them start to pick up talent, right? Or even somebody like Baltimore who can just use reliable talent, period. What's going on, Mark? I see you, but I can't hear you. What's going on, B? Why ain't you calling through the line? I want to know. Why don't you guys start calling in? I want to know how you guys feel about Tom Brady being back in the league. Go ahead and leave me your comments or whatever you're listening to the podcast at. Just remember that you can find the podcast anywhere, whether that's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. And we're talking about live, too. You can catch us on Facebook Live, Twitter Live, Instagram Live, YouTube Live, Podbean Live. Podbean is how we used to call into the phone lines. You could call in through Twitch Live as well. And as soon as we figure shit out, we can get you on TikTok Live as well, too. Call that shit TikTok. I don't know why they call that shit TikTok. So you guys go ahead and you type in your response and your comments, and I'll go ahead and when I breeze past them, I'll go ahead and read them on the air. But I want to know, how do you guys feel about Tom Brady being back in the league? Gotcha. Why is everybody putting hearts underneath their shit? So now if you're a guy like Jarvis Landry, right? And I want to just use him, right, as probably one of the perfect examples, right? One of the examples out there. He's a known name. He's not one of your top tier wide receivers, but Jarvis Landry is still a name and a talent that is believed that can still help a team have a reliable option and possibly even be a game changer, depending on what else you have on the field, right? So if you're a guy like Jarvis Landry, where would you want to go to? Would you want to go to like the Chargers or Baltimore? Maybe help out those young quarterbacks, get some kind of solidarity. You know, if I'm using that word, you know, if I'm pronouncing it right, but helping them get some solidarity and consistency in their, you know, on their offense. Or do you go to a team like Buffalo, who you just trying to think like, you know what? We just need to go to this team and just start making them a mismatch problem. The kind of mismatch problem you were hoping that you would have been when Odell Beckham came to your team before you realized that you had a quarterback that couldn't get him the ball properly. Or would you like to see him possibly go to Denver? Right? There's Denver where we have Russell Wilson, who's part of a team that on every stage of the game except for offense, they were basically top 5, top 3. And now you put a Super Bowl quarterback and a future Hall of Fame quarterback on that team. Does Jarvis Landry want to go there and help with the liability of that? Remember, we're not just talking about who can possibly, like, who you can also possibly help win, but also the team that you're going to, and the state that you're going to, and the city that you're going to, and the taxes you may have to pay, and the weed that you can smoke. Now that the NFL is no longer testing for marijuana or COVID. Like, these are real questions that have to be answered, because there's Denver, and then there's last year's champions, the LA Rams. There's the previous year's previous year's champion. And in my eyes and in my memory, there's the Rams, and then the previous year's champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. They're in there, right? Like, do you go to them to give them more options? Well, you know, if I go there, I could probably definitely win. Or do you go to the overhyped team of the peoples, the Green Bay Packers or the Dallas Cowboys? Do you go to possibly those teams and help add options to those teams? See if you can help them get over the hump. Because, see, outside of maybe like Kansas or the Rams or maybe even Denver, you go to any one of these teams, if you're a guy like a Jarvis Landry, if they win, you're gonna get a lot of credit for that, especially if you ball out when it matters. If you stay healthy and produce when it matters. Or now that Tom Brady is back in Tampa Bay, does he once again start stealing all of the talent in the league? And do they all converge again in North Florida? And try to help Tom Brady steal another ring? See? There were already 8 solid teams that you can go to that are already contenders now. And automatically, maybe your presence helps make them a true Super Bowl team. There were 8 before Tampa Bay and Tom Brady reunited. I'm not going to sing that song for them, because ultimately, like, you guys know how I feel about this.
I'm from New York, and you know what? Tom Brady's a fucking bitch.
And also,
Yo, you thought Trae Young was still good, right? Fuck Trae Young! Fuck Trae!
so this will let you guys know. So where's the next hot destination? Is what I'm asking now, right? I asked you a couple of questions today. So far, are you happy that Tom Brady is back? And now that you have to include Tampa Bay back into the mix, who's the hot destination? We have about 9 teams, folks. 9 solid teams that are right now playoff / championship contenders. There was 8. And now we add Tom Brady in there to get 9. And Tampa Bay to get 9. Tampa Bay. 9 whole teams. That if you consider yourself, or if you deem yourself, or if you fancy yourself a game changer, a playmaker, these are teams where you could go to right now and possibly win right now. And granted, there's true contenders out there, and then you have your young contenders out there, and then there's the people's overhyped champs, Green Bay and Dallas. The overhyped teams of the people. That's what those two guys are. As we have right now in the background, this Minnesota versus San Antonio game. Right now, Minnesota is beating San Antonio 80-77. Just about 9 minutes left to go in the third quarter. We'll probably end up changing from this game pretty soon. I forgot there's another team I really want to watch lose more than I'd rather watch these two teams play. Even though there are two real significant things. Ooh, look at the ass on that black referee. Let's see if that was heard. Right, so like there's a reason why I'm watching this game right now. This is something significant here, right? One player, one coach. I like to see Anthony Edwards play, like more than I like to see Karl Anthony Towns or anybody else on the Minnesota team. But also on the other side, we have Greg Popovich, right? And as we're gonna shift gears and start getting busy in the association a little, right? We have Greg Popovich, who, in his last victory, became the all-time winningest coach in NBA history, 1,336 wins. And if you've known anything about Greg Popovich for the last about 20-25 years, you know what kind of winner he is. From the times of having David Robinson and Tim Duncan, and I think one of the Ellis boys. Right? Somebody with the name Ellis, I remember it. And Bruce Bowen and them to the days with Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker. And then again to his days with Tim Duncan and Kawhi Leonard. Right? We've seen multiple versions of teams win championships with Greg Popovich. As we know him to have his 5 rings. Tim Duncan has 5 rings, tied with the late great Kobe Bryant. But not do we just know Greg Popovich for his winning, but we also know Greg Popovich for his dedication to the military. That's one, right? Because he always goes heavy there, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think at one point in time he either attended or he was coaching at West Point. But he has a big dedication to the military, and he's in San Antonio, Texas. They have a big military presence there. Like as an organization, to not give back to your military in a place like that is almost it's counterproductive, right? It'll almost be asinine. Like, no, you just get a whole bunch of easy clout just because of it. But not just his willingness to give to the military, but also some of his progressiveness as a coach. Now, excuse me. Now, I can't speak for anything that he has done as far as African American rights, right? Or the progression of African Americans. But I do know that he has helped push the cause when it comes to women, right? Which is another minority group that definitely needs help as well, right? And anytime that you catch anybody helping a minority group, you have to tilt your hat to them because they know that they're giving more than they have to give, especially when they're not part of that minority. And probably one of the highest or most notable things that we know about him when it comes to like helping pick up the women's community is him giving Becky Hammon, right? Him making Becky Hammon the first female coach in the NBA, but not head coach, but assistant coach, and giving her a prominent coaching job so that not only can she be respected in what she does, but also that other women can be respected in the NBA as well. Shortly after we saw Becky Hammon, I'm trying to remember which one we saw first. We saw the coach first or the referee first. But I felt like shortly after we saw Becky Hammon in the league, shortly after that we saw our first female referee in the NBA. And then things just started going up from there. And it's been a beautiful thing to not just see Greg Popovich's involvement in the game, him giving back to the military, him helping progress women in this game, but just his overall love for basketball, even though some may call him hard and stern, when people leave him or when people go to him, they end up being better players. Latest evidence is DeMar DeRozan. That even when somebody like him, that when he's unleashed on his own team, that gives him us a little bit more freedom. You can see all of the things that he learned from Greg Popovich and see what the true transition in his game, if you compare Toronto DeMar to Chicago DeMar, and be like, damn, what was different that changed those two guys? And in between there was a little bit of pop. It's almost the equivalent to, even though he didn't win a championship for it, that's why I say almost the equivalent to. It's almost the equivalent to LeBron James going down to South Beach and learning how to win from Dwayne Wade and Pat Riley. And then going to Cleveland and finally becoming the player that we kind of know now. Because I'm telling you guys, if LeBron James doesn't go to Miami, the person that we talk about now, or the person that you guys talk about now, does not exist. The person that you guys talk about now, you don't talk about in such high praises. But he still would be talked about. And even in his 19th year in the league, he finds ways to continuously be talked about. But not just talked about, but be relevant. Relevant beyond anybody else I think has been at his age. And for him, this is probably one of the times where I guess age does matter in a weird way. Because normally by now, a lot of other players would have retired out the league. But also by now, a lot of other players would have done, that came before him, would have done at least 2 to 3 years of college. Most of them would at least have done one. Right? So the fact that he has come into the league since 18, now played 19 years, about 37 years old, right? But still has been a full 19 years at this. And we're just now starting to see the effects of age starting to hit him with the achy knee that he has to rest. But that knee isn't achy when he realizes sometimes, you know what? I need to really push myself to go in and get these wins. Now, granted, this is what happens sometimes. Like, you can push yourself one day. Maybe you can push yourself 2 days. Maybe you can push yourself 3 days. But you're going to need to take one of those rests pretty soon. Ask Kimber Walker. Waka waka. LeBron James, he goes and he drops 50 against the Washington Bullets, or you guys may know them as the Wizards. And that 50-point game officially pushes him to #1 in scoring for this season. And we talked about this last week on the show. Things are going to get real interesting as we get down to the end of the season and we start talking about maybe even MVPs or things like that for the NBA. Or just all-time greatness, right? LeBron James becomes the only player recently to have, 25,000 points, 10,000 assists, and 10,000 rebounds? Some shit like that? Right? But again, he's been playing forever. He's been playing since he was 19. You know? For most guys, if they were to play 19 years, for the guys that did play 19 years, right? Only him and Kobe have really got a chance to do this and still be like under 40. You understand? Everybody else that hits 19 years in the league, 20 years in the league, they're in their 40s already. That's the reason why I made Kareem Abdul-Jabbar when he was in the league a little bit more special. Or even Jordan, a little bit more special, is that there's so much more basketball, right? And tougher basketball that's being played. And harder basketball. LeBron James has really caught basketball at a very non-physical point, which has also helped towards his longevity. Hey, sometimes you also have to be lucky in the era that you come into. Like some of those early players in the NBA that were dominant, they were just lucky at that time that they were playing against guys also that were unathletic. Like, so even when they had a jumper, they couldn't jump with them just to even contend that. And when they took out dunking out the NBA, they still show that they can dominate with hooks and layups and finger rolls. But LeBron James scores his 50 against Washington and puts himself as the all-time leader. And it's one of those games where, look at that. He's such an asshole. Oh my God. Yo.
What, baby? You said to turn your camera?
It's not even on. But you guys should have seen this. I'm watching the Memphis and San Antonio game. And this dude is on, and they're in San Antonio, and this couple is on the kiss cam. And he don't know that they're on the kiss cam. I don't think the girl knows either, right? But she's over there trying to ask him something when she's just being like, you know how girlfriends could be tedious and bothersome sometimes. So she's being bothersome or whatever. And he's over there like, yo, leave me alone. Yo, get the fuck off me. Nah, go on somewhere. Yo, mira, yo, cállate. Yo, te que calmo, kind of shit. You know what I mean? And like she's just going in and going in. And I guess when he hits him with the te que calmo, right? She just calms the fuck down and she sits down. She's like, And then he looks up and he's on the kiss cam. He's like, oh, hey, babes, look, hey, I love you. Give me a kiss. You guys, it was funny as fuck. You had to be there. It's one of those in the moment kind of things. Why on, Shucks?
What you looking at?
The prettiest girl in the room. I told you this already.
Okay, whatever.
Look at that. You guys only knew what I have my hands on right now. I got myself a handful. Woo! Woo! Shit! I'm talking about meaty. Alright. So, we mentioned this to you guys last week, that no one wants to see you eating on camera. Get up. Come on, man. See, this is kind of what the girl was doing on the kiss cam when he was ignoring his girl. He's like, yo, get the fuck out of here. Yo, leave me alone. I find it fucking busy over here. Calm.
This all I'm allowed to do, y'all, eat. Cause he like thick bitches. Oh, yeah, the girl on the kiss cam?
So LeBron goes back. Okay, go over there. So LeBron, he drops his 50. And he becomes the all-time scoring leader. Right? Or the league leader in scoring this year. And it's one of those things where you can see the writing on the wall. If you're a sports fan, and if you know how narratives, right? You got a sense like, oh, you can see how this story's gonna play out. Yes, one of those things. If you know how narratives are constantly built, more importantly, if you know how LeBron James likes to control his narratives, you know what's about to come. We told you what was gonna happen when the Lakers got Russell Westbrook. Now we're gonna tell you what's gonna happen when the Lakers get bounced in the play-in tournament, or when they get bounced in the first round by Phoenix. You're gonna hear LeBron James talk about, oh, how I did everything that I could. I did my all. I led the league in scoring this year. They talk about me not being a scorer. You know, baby, stop, please. I'm in the middle of recording. Stop doing what you do. Okay? She's over here being annoying. She's over here pinching my arm hairs and shit. Alright, and here she goes again. I really just asked you to stop. Please, can you go over there and relax so I can podcast in peace? My love. Thank you. We already know how LeBron James controls his narratives. And his narrative is going to be that, oh, I did all I can. I busted my ass. I gave it the all. I led the league in scoring at 38 years old. My team wasn't there. I had Carmelo. He didn't help. You know, Carmelo's having a great season. I had Russell Westbrook. He couldn't help me. It's a triple-double. I had Anthony Davis. He couldn't stay healthy. I basically carried this team to the 8th seed. And I did all I can to help us play against Phoenix. Phoenix, who we all know that Phoenix does not respect the Lakers or LeBron James.
Oh, close your laptop. Touch me again.
Whatever.
Y'all see how he don't want me touching him, but every time I walk past him, he want to touch me. That's not fair.
You're pinching my ears. That's not
Anyways.
touching me. That's a distraction.
Anyways, y'all. Let me show you what a distraction is. Fuck. Stop touching me if you don't want me touching you while you recording. Cause you just snapped on me. You just snapped on me in front of the whole world because I touched you a few times.
Yeah, see why I gotta go there every day?
No.
No respect for my shit. No.
He just got mad and he contradicted himself.
Baby,
Like,
you're pinching me, and pinching me is a distraction. You're not coming over here and rubbing me or being caressful. No, you're doing something that is a distracted
bro,
activity.
this is a legit argument on life.
Because you're starting right now. Stop. Then go somewhere. You could have ignored me. Go somewhere.
Bro,
Get off my podcast.
Talent single, y'all.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Shit, hopefully. Like I said, it don't matter if you have a millionaire supermodel wife at home, broads be annoying. And that's why Tom Brady don't want to be home. He's like, yo, I'd rather get my head bashed in by 350-pound lineman than go deal with my annoying ass wife at home. It only took him 8 weeks to be like, fuck this shit. Like, I married you for your looks at the time. I didn't know it was gonna be like this. Tom Brady. We're talking about Tom Brady. See my girl looking at me. We're talking about Tom Brady here.
I never want to have sex with you again.
Oh, so it's okay. I'll find somebody else to have sex with.
I know you will.
Okay.
Maybe one of your friends can help you.
Maybe they can. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. You know they the plug.
I know exactly who to call.
Yeah, I know you.
1-800-HUSTLER.
Yes. That's the number.
That is the number.
I saw that one today.
Did you?
Yes.
Nice. You must have listened to Jay-Z songs.
I do.
Good for you.
That's the man.
Exactly.
Sagittarius.
Like that Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Half
crazy
man, half horse.
Is he a Sagittarius? December?
Yes,
3rd?
December 4th. You
Third,
better
4th.
know. That's
Yeah.
your favorite rapper. You don't even know his birthday. Anyways, back to regularly scheduled programming.
There you go. Y'all see the annoying shit I gotta deal with? Okay, so back. LeBron James is gonna make this. He's gonna find a way to get an out in this season. Or he's gonna get an out for being blamed for not helping his team win. Or for not producing. Because, you know, we all know what happens. When LeBron James doesn't win, it's not LeBron James' fault. When LeBron James wins, LeBron James happens to be, what does he like to call himself?
So I'm gonna take my talents to South Beach because I'm the best player in the world.
I have a huge basketball IQ.
And I want my damn respect too.
That's what he's going to be saying. Hey, I'm number 2 in scoring. I just broke 10,000 assists. I got 10,000 rebounds. Nobody in history has ever done this. Next year he's going to be the all-time scoring leader. So, older than anybody has ever done it, he's going to lead the league in scoring. And then the next year, he's going to lead the league in scoring all time. And even when his team doesn't win, these are going to be the 2 things that we remember from these last 2 failed seasons of LeBron James. And trust me when I say they will get bounced early, especially if they go up against a team like Phoenix. And we just saw them play Phoenix last night, right? We just saw them play Phoenix last night. And we saw the writing on the wall. We saw exactly how things were going to end up playing out. The Phoenix Suns, the number 1 seeded Phoenix Suns, they do not respect the Lakers at all. Devin Booker, Chris Paul and them boys do not respect LeBron James at all. No respect. Ooh, who's that female referee? I gotta get a better look at her. Let you guys know what she looked like for real, for real. But you can see it in their play. You can see it in their demeanor. You can see it in their body language, right? You can see it how they attack the Lakers. You can see it how they defend the Lakers, right? There's one thing that's going on, Ronnie. See you popping in. They do not whatsoever respect the Lakers. They're not afraid of them or anything. They play the Lakers and they take it to them 100%. They take it to them and they bust their ass. They're not trying to let the Lakers get a foot up on them. And granted, The other night, LeBron James puts up another 30. I think Devin Booker puts up another 30 plus. But the Suns, they end up just getting a nice easy victory. If you're the Lakers, I'm not gonna lie, with the Phoenix Suns sitting in the number 1 seed and already clinching a playoff spot, the Los Angeles Lakers are sitting in the number 9 seed, right? If you're the Lakers, you have to think, I want Memphis more than I want the Suns. And I say Memphis because what a lot of you may not realize, that currently, as we speak, the Memphis Grizzlies are the second best team in the league. Not the West, which is the second best team in the West. But not just the West, they're the second best team in the league. Remember that when we start talking about possible MVPs later on in this show. If you're the Lakers, you have to be thinking to yourself, I want Memphis. I don't want Phoenix, and I don't want the Golden State Warriors. Those are the 2 teams I do not want to play at all in the first round. And that's because they don't respect you enough. They don't fear you, and they know how to beat you. And they know that they can beat you. You saw Wiseman come back and return the other day, damn near dropped 20. So when LeBron James fails early, we're going to hear all of the excuses that aren't pointed towards him. We're going to hear about the health of Anthony Davis. We're going to hear about the inconsistency of Rajon Rondo. But before that, it was the inconsistency of Russell Westbrook. Before that, it was inconsistency of Rajon Rondo. We're going to hear about how the lineup didn't produce. We're going to hear how guys weren't healthy. What we're not going to hear is how LeBron James didn't do enough to help his team win. How the LeBron James that, just like how there was a certain Russell Westbrook that LeBron and them thought they were going to get, or there was a certain Anthony Davis that LeBron and company thought they were going to get. And when I say LeBron and company, I mean LeBron and management, right? And brass. Right? There was a certain... LeBron thought he was going to get a certain Russell Westbrook. LeBron and them thought he was going to get a certain Anthony Davis. LeBron and them thought he was going to get a certain Dwight Howard, a certain Rajon Rondo. They thought they were going to get a particular version of the entities that they were bringing onto this team. But you know what? As we point the finger on every single last one of those we thought we were gonna have a version of, we also thought we were gonna have the version of LeBron James that we were used to. And guess what we don't have? Ooh, bud. Guess what we don't have? Bud. We don't have the LeBron James that we thought we was gonna have. We don't have the guy that bulldozes his way through the lane and to the rim, like a bull in a china shop, drawing fouls and drawing in that defense. We don't have that guy anymore. We don't have that guy that puts 100% on effort anymore and is chasing down blocks and coming with the weak side help. We don't have that guy anymore. We don't have the guy that is going all out in transition offense, trying to get every alley-oop or trying to help finish every break. We don't have that guy. Or not we, they don't have that guy. Because guess who Anthony Davis was expecting to have? Guess who Carmelo Anthony was expecting to have? Guess who Russell Westbrook was expecting to have? Guess who Rajon Rondo was expecting to have? See, I always tell you guys, when LeBron James gets to a team, it becomes the story of LeBron James, and we start telling the story through LeBron James's eyes. Why don't we step back and start looking at through everybody else's eyes? As we keep saying, oh, we don't have the version of Westbrook that we expected, and we don't have Anthony Davis the way we expected. Well, guess what? We don't have the LeBron James that we expected. See, and it's all gonna get glossed over because you know what? He led the league in scoring this year. But all of those other intangibles that made LeBron James fearful and made him a bona fide winner, he's no longer doing that. You know what he basically turned into? It's like, and not quite, but it's almost as similar to what Julius Randle did from this year to last year, except for LeBron James pulled a whole career of being good at it. And now we're like, he started to sleepwalk through it. But that's what Julius Randle did last year. Played for the check, and then this year it's like, And the Julius Randle that we all thought we was going to get, we didn't get. The LeBron James that you thought you had, you don't have. You have a watered-down version of him. You have his shadow. You have a LeBron James silhouette. Like, you have to squint and turn your head real fast to even recognize him anymore. I love you, baby. So, when the season ends, remember this, right? Remember this like you remember the Titans. Remember this like you remember 9/11. Remember this, right? That all legends must fall. All towers must crumble. And when they go to blame one entity, just remember there's a conspiracy theory. The true blame is actually internal. That's LeBron James. He is to blame for the Lakers' failure. He is the most disappointing megastar. And I say megastar, face of the league, whatever the fuck you want to call him. He is the most disappointing star the Lakers franchise has ever gone out and got. And yet when he fails, it's going to be everybody else's fault. You know what? He ain't going to blame him for shit. He gonna walk away. You can tell by the way I walk. Staying alive. Because that's going to be his reputation. Staying alive. While everybody else crumbles right underneath the ash like they're Pompeii.
The phoenix rising out of the ashes.
No, there's no Phoenix rising out of the ashes. You know the Phoenix rising out of the ashes? That's Devin Booker and Chris Paul. Chris Paul is finally going to be the Phoenix rising from the ashes if he finally gets a goddamn championship. The original Mr. I have failed this city. And then after that, James Harden was like, hold my beer. Let me show you how to fail your city in a new way. Fail your city 2.0. So, I ask you now, what happens when LeBron James doesn't win? Because listen, we all know we're gonna be watching those series. I'm gonna watch these series, but we all know he's gonna fail early unless he plays Memphis. Like Memphis is the out, right? Because Memphis happens to be the one team that, even though they may not fear him, and we know nobody in Memphis fears LeBron James or these Lakers, they don't have the experience to probably beat him. And that's probably going to be Memphis' downfall if they get matched with the Lakers early. It's going to be a sad day. It's going to be a real sad day if Memphis gets tied up with the Lakers. But all that means is that if they get tied up with the Lakers, that means Memphis is at number 2. And then Lakers get that number 2 spot. And you know who they play after that? The Golden State Warriors. And then you know what that means, right? I'm coming home. Tell Bronny and the wife I'm coming home. Because they be getting bounced and going home. Now, what the hell? Oh my God. You know what? You are a sugar feed. That's why I give you the nickname Sugar. I didn't even know how fitting that name was for you until now. Like, baby, you're spilling weed. Literally, you just were like, and you dumped weed out of your cone. If I find it, I'm taking it and I put it in my bowl. I don't know where it's at. Oh, there it goes. And there it goes. And there it goes. Okay. Oh, baby, can I get some weed? Nah, I'm joking. I don't need any weed right now. I got enough weed to last it to the morning.
I don't think this shit's smoking.
You want me to test this?
Yeah. Smoke it first.
Okay.
It was free.
That's all I'm gonna test right there. Whatever it is, I'm gonna test. I really look forward to smoking in the morning. Cause I got enough weed to last me through tonight. But I'll crumble whatever I have now with some of this tonight, with some of this in the morning to have a good bowl. And then we'll see how that goes. So I think one of the jobs I was applying. So I'm gonna let you guys know this, right? And I never really thought about this before. When going to an interview, right? Don't tell the person that's interviewing you that you have a podcast when you smoke and drink on your podcast. I think one of my employees may have came and popped in on the podcast was like, I don't know if we can have him represent the company when he's over here openly smoking pot and saying fuck Tom Brady. They sound like New England fans anyway. I think the company was started in that whole cocksucking area. So, you know, they love Tom Brady dick up there.
Oh, okay.
So let's go back to more dicks, right? In the association.
Really? What the fuck?
You don't understand what I'm saying? Because somebody pulled a dick move the other day. And as we're talking about the Memphis Grizzlies were taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. And apparently, they must have confused their parties. And they must have thought they were going to an all-white party instead of an NBA game. Because both teams decided to wear their white jerseys. Yes, and it's one of those weird things that I know it's not as big thing. It's just a funny moment. It's just one of those like, yo, what in the MyT fuckery is going on here? Drink some juice, baby. You got? Oh, never mind. That's chips. Chocolate chips. Right. So they both came out wearing their all white, and you know what's weird? I wholeheartedly don't believe that this used to be a problem until away teams started wearing their white jerseys so that the home team could start wearing all their colorway jerseys. Which I get it. Like, it still throws me off that sometimes away teams come in and wear all white because that's how we used to see it in basketball. And football is completely the opposite, and I never even noticed it, right? You just get used to how your sport does, in the sport that you're watching, how they do it. But it makes sense to me that they're sort of allowing away teams to wear white because the colorways jerseys, they're only in color, right? Your home jerseys are all white. All those other fancy jerseys that your team has, they're all colored jerseys, which means that if you only go to if you wear them how they have it respectively set out, you only wear it for the away games, which means your home team never gets to see these banging ass new jerseys that you have. You know what I mean? That the people that your paying fans and your respectful fan base and your loyal fan base never gets to see that cool shit that you have. Instead, you get to waste it on everybody on the road. That's booing you. Like, so I get it, but that's one of those little weird things that we wouldn't have an issue with. All right, so now that we got a little bit lighter side out of the way, let's talk about a little bit more serious in the basketball, right? Because we talked about LeBron James's new run to be the scoring leader, right? But is his chase to be the NBA scoring leader going to help him be the MVP of the season? Now that's something different, and we have a slew of MVPs out here, right? And I feel like LeBron James is kind of making his way into the talks. And you know how I categorize, like, we have MVP talks, right? Somebody should be in the MVP category, then you have your true MVPs. Right now, I feel like LeBron James has worked his way into that MVP category, even though his team is sitting in a 9th spot, only because he has a nice narrative around him. The old guy that leads the league in scoring. That's what his narrative is. The old guy that leads the league in scoring. And his name happens to be LeBron James. And you know what? I'm from New York, and LeBron James is a fucking bitch. I mean, Tom Brady. I mean, they're all bitches. All right, so when it comes to MVPs, we have...
Money.
Huh? Money don't mean shit to me. Wait, because you have your money don't mean that you can't be a bitch?
Bitches with money.
Bitches with money. Oh, that's what you said. Oh, okay. Like, shit. Yeah, he's a bitch with money. That's what happens when you're 6'8". You take advantage of that shit. Listen, if I had a 6'8" kid, you understand? If I feel like my kid's about to be 6'8", I am forcing them into basketball. I don't care what you want to do with your life. You're gonna play basketball. You at least play for 3 goddamn years. Get yourself a rookie contract. Be good enough to get that first extension, and you can bounce.
This is the kind of parent that I never wanted.
Listen, you become 6'8" if you want to.
Fire to that.
Become 6'8" if you want to. I'm gonna force you to play basketball because you realize that's your easiest way to make easy money. Shit. I ain't about to have no 6'8" accountant in my house. Nah, fuck that. Better go learn how to dribble the ball. If you can't dribble the ball, you better know how to sling crack rock. I'm joking. But let's get back into it. All right. In the association, we're down to our last 15 games, right? And now the MVP talks really start to pick up, right? The MVP race really start to pick up. And we see a bunch of, let's see, Golden State versus Washington. I do want to see Washington lose. We got Milwaukee versus Utah. That's a nice little game that should be going on. And I want to see the Lakers. I want to see Toronto. I want to see Toronto lose to the Lakers if they can as well too. Basically, I'm trying to get the teams ahead of me in my conference and division to lose, so then the Knicks could possibly move up. I don't know how much help it's gonna be, but I just want to see them move up. But as we see these guys move up, there's also MVPs to consider. LeBron James I feel like it's a late MVP push with his with his new scoring spree. But on top of that, we still have regulars, right? Like Nikola Jokic, who in almost every single advanced stat category, he is coming in number one, if not top three. Then we have guys like DeMar DeRozan, where we just look at the writing on the wall, right? He number one scorer in the fourth quarter. He has his team currently right now sitting in the number 4 spot, right? And that's a recent fall, right? To fall behind teams like, basically to fall behind Milwaukee. That's the only team ahead of them in their division. I remember they're the ones that share a division with also Cleveland, who's also young and surging as well. Ahead of Chicago Bulls is Miami, Philly, and Milwaukee. And the only other team that we would probably say that we would expect to be in that top 4 that isn't is probably the Brooklyn Nets. So we have DeMar DeRozan, who's an MVP candidate, right? We have Ja Morant, who I already told you, his team is the second best team in the league, with him as the leader. He's a nice young MVP candidate, but they're not gonna give it to him this year. They're gonna make him do this a whole nother year. They're gonna make Ja Morant do this again before they give him an MVP. As I said, we got LeBron James, but also on the other side we got Joel Embiid with the Philadelphia 76ers sitting in the second seed in the East, right? He's been carrying them for the majority of the season, even before they got James Harden and went on a nice little 3 to 6 game winning streak. I think it was like 3 before they lost one. And then there's also the Phoenix Suns. And when it's the Phoenix Suns, like, who do you give MVP? It's kind of like Golden State. Like, Golden State's doing good, but does Stephen Curry deserve an MVP vote? Phoenix Suns are doing great. Who do you give that MVP to? Is this a Chris Paul MVP vote or is this a Devin Booker MVP vote? But for me right now, I think that those are my 6. And guys, like I said, write to me if you feel a little bit different, if you feel like it's off, if you feel like there's a couple more names I may be forgetting about. These are probably my 6 MVP candidates right now, right? The guys that I'm like, okay, if you're not talking about these guys in your MVP talks, then you're just out of pocket, right? And I'm trying to think if there's some honorable mentions that we can possibly think of. Maybe Giannis, as we overlook him a little bit. Who knows who we can give credit to in Miami, to be honest with you, right? Is there anybody from Cleveland that you want to give it to with their surge out of nowhere? But we already know how this goes. Somebody from Cleveland, they'll probably get most improved before they get MVP. There's a cycle that you have to go through this. Can Kevin Durant find his way to move into MVP's talks at the final stages of the season? Like I said, we're just about 67 games in, folks. Right? Some teams like the Miami Heat, they've played 69 already. So we're talking about 15 to 13 games left. I'm trying to see if anybody has played 70 games as of yet. And it looks like the most anybody has played as of right now is just about 59. 69. So everybody's played about 69 to 68 games so far. I see the Portland Trailblazers with 66. Damn, I didn't even know that you could even play that little bit of game so far. That doesn't mean that they probably have a couple of back-to-backs left coming around the corner. So with just about 13 to 15 games left, like these are the guys that you have to keep your eye on, right? These are the guys that you'll be watching: Ja Morant, LeBron James, Joel Embiid, Devin Booker, DeMar DeRozan, Jokic, Giannis. To see if any of these guys are able to make it in or get that MVP. But also on top of that, as a Knicks fan, right? As a Knicks fan, not only are you watching your Knicks at 28-40 who aren't eliminated from the playoffs, right? So far, there are only two teams that are currently right now eliminated from the playoffs, and they're both in the East, and that's the Orlando Magic and the Detroit Pistons with both 18 wins. They have 50 and 51 losses. The Magic has 51 losses. Nobody from the West, even the Houston Rockets with 17 wins, is mathematically out because we still have the play-in tournament, and they're only about 11 games behind New Orleans, so they're not fully mathematically eliminated. Right, there's about a 15 game win difference between the Detroit Pistons and the Charlotte Hornets. Now, New York Knicks, they're also still in it, right? As I said, we've been watching all of these teams ahead of the New York Knicks. Basically we're watching them until the end of the season, right? The Atlanta Hawks played Portland earlier today, and if I'm not mistaken, Atlanta ended up beating Portland. Yep, 122-113. So we're not going to gain any ground there as Atlanta sits in the number 9 spot. So really what we're going to be looking towards Charlotte to lose and also Washington to lose. And Charlotte Hornets earlier today, they played the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let's see if that game has finalized as of yet. Yes, that one did, and Charlotte Hornets beat Oklahoma City 134-116. So there goes another team that we will not be gaining ground up on. But now there is one team left, who is the Washington Wizards, right, or the Washington Bullets, and they'll be taking on the Golden State Warriors tonight. The Washington Bullets have a record of 29-37. The New York Knicks have a record of 28-40. Right, so there's only a one-win game. There's only one win differential between the two, even though it's about 3 games in the loss column. Washington Wizards lose this game, they stay at 29 and they drop to 29-38. Hopefully the New York Knicks can win their next game, right? And if they win that next game, then that'll at least get them tied in the win column with the Washington Wizards. And very slowly we can see if we can work our way into that 11th spot and really only be 1 spot out of the play-in tournament. Now the next time the New York Knicks play, as they just lost 2 games back to back, right? And if it to end what was, like I said, a 7-game road swing. They lost their first 2 on the road swing, then they won the 3 in the middle, and then they end up losing their last 2. The last 2 losses end up coming on Friday and Sunday to the Memphis Grizzlies and to the Brooklyn Nets. And these are 2 games, to be honest with you, I'm not too upset about them losing, right? Even though it seems as if both games may have been winnable, losing the game against Memphis by only 4 points and the game against Brooklyn by only 3 points, you can see what the lack for the New York Knicks are, and that's just more talent and experience at this time, right? And I know early in the season was like, damn, they had the experience, but their experience didn't have the necessary talent. They have the youth now, and that youth may be talented, but they don't have enough experience yet. But they're doing good against teams like Memphis and Brooklyn. As you know, Brooklyn has the best player in the league, and the Memphis Grizzlies have the hottest player in the league. And also, the Memphis Grizzlies are the 2nd best team in the league. And they've been consistently one of the top 5 teams in the league for a good portion of the season. So they are all about winning, and they know how to be cohesive already. And they've been on their winning ways behind their superstars since last year. Remember, last year they dominated the Golden State Warriors in that 1-game play-in tournament. So to lose to Brooklyn and lose to Memphis isn't these heartbreaking losses that should really turn your attitude sour. But what it does, though, it just hurts the Knicks in their position. But the Knicks can make up some ground. I told you that the next game they play is going to be on Wednesday night. We're going to be live from Sharkies, right? They play at 7:30 against Portland. Now, that game is going to be a game that they're going to have to win. Portland's been a struggling team. They haven't had Dame Lillard for the majority of the season, right? They've had their ups and downs, their roller coastering, and that's a team that you need to go ahead and beat. And beating them, this needs to be a little part of momentum that you gain. Because right after that are the Washington Wizards. And we told you the Washington Wizards are the team directly ahead of them. So by the time you play the Wizards, that game may be for the 11th spot when you play Washington. And everything is just, and then after that, we're just hoping for a chance. Like after that, if you're the Knicks, you're just hoping for the chance. You can surpass Washington by this week and become the 11th seed. After that, it's just about if Charlotte can hold on. That's all it is. Can the Charlotte Hornets hold on to their lead? And granted, they have a schedule that they can hold serve. I guess to put it like a tennis term, right? They can hold home court. They can hold their place with the record that they have. As we look at the Hornets, right? I mean the Wizards. They have a game coming up on Wednesday against the Atlanta Hawks, right? We're gonna hope that they end up losing over the Atlanta Hawks, because we can't have Atlanta losing, because then it just throws things like Atlanta's a little bit too far. What we need to happen here is for right. What we need to happen here is for, I guess it's for Charlotte. This is weird, right? Because Charlotte and Atlanta almost have the same record, right? And the only reason why I say maybe we catch Charlotte, because Charlotte may end up being the slightly worse team. But when it comes to Charlotte, they have Atlanta, they have Dallas, right? They can easily lose both of those two games. They have New Orleans and they have us, right? There goes maybe a win and hopefully another loss. And they got Utah, hopefully that's a loss. Brooklyn, that's a loss. Denver, that's a loss. New York, that's a loss. Philly, that's a loss. Miami, that's a loss. Orlando, that should be a win. Chicago is a loss. And Washington, we'll see. All right? That is where the Hornets are falling. So the Hornets could be caught. If you remember how we did out this scenario the other day for the Knicks, and we figured that the Knicks could win more than they lose. It looks like the Charlotte Hornets could lose way more than they win, right? Now, as far as Washington, right? Washington is a slightly different story. Remember, Washington is the team that's right ahead of us, right? They're the team that we are hoping to catch first, right? Before we talk about Charlotte or catching Orlando, we have to pass Washington, right? And Washington, obviously, will probably take a loss tonight against Golden State Warriors. And then they have Denver. Hopefully that's another loss, right? Then they play us, and they take another loss. And they play the Lakers, and they take another loss. And that's 4 straight losses. They take 4 straight losses. That 11th spot is ours, right? Then they play Houston. That's probably a win. And they play Milwaukee, loss. Detroit, loss. Win. Golden State, loss. Chicago, loss. Orlando, win. Dallas, loss. Boston, loss. Minnesota, loss. Atlanta, New York, loss. Charlotte, loss. We're gonna need Washington to lose to Charlotte and lose to Atlanta every single time they play. And then the Knicks can possibly come in there and sweep in and trying to get themselves a nice little like you said, Charlotte may end up having a losing record between their last 15 games or their last games left. The Wizards may have a losing record in their last games left. The other team to worry about is Atlanta. In Atlanta, they take on Charlotte. Who knows how it's going to happen? But they take on Memphis. We'll hope they lose there. They take on New Orleans. It's probably a win there. They take on us. Loss right there. Then they take on Detroit. Then they're gonna win that one. Then they take on Golden State. They'll win that one. Take on Indiana. They'll take on Golden State and lose that. They'll take on Indiana and Oklahoma City and they'll win both of those. But then they'll lose to Cleveland. They'll lose to Brooklyn. They may beat Toronto. We're gonna hope Toronto beats them. They're gonna beat Washington. They'll lose to Miami and they'll beat Houston. Atlanta may be the team that holds. Out of all of those teams, Atlanta may be the teams that holds. If you're the Knicks, making it to the play-in isn't a foregone conclusion. If you're a Knicks fan, you should not be giving up on your season as of yet. The season isn't over. if you're a Knicks fan. There's still enough games, there's still enough time, and there's still enough bad teams playing enough good teams out there for the Knicks to be able to catch them. And then again, the simplest of reminders, or the best reminder more than anything else, is that, you know what? If the Knicks keep playing competitive basketball, and I said this already, the Knicks keep playing competitive basketball, and you see them taking teams like Memphis and Brooklyn to the limit, but then they start being able to win against the rest of the teams that they have on their lineup. Beat Charlotte, beat Atlanta, beat Washington, beat the Detroit. You know, I understand, and some of these other easier teams. Not only can they very quickly get into that 11th spot and be one seed out, and even start fighting for that 10th spot. Whether they don't make that 10th spot or not, it's the competitiveness that they're going to be playing with at the end of the year that we're going to be looking at. Because again, not very often do I like to believe in the saying, "Oh, momentum from last year," because a lot of times I get that in football, and sometimes it doesn't correlate, right? Like the correlation really isn't there. This is one of those few times, right? This is one of those times that the Knicks playing hard now at the end of the season can actually be momentum to take into the next season based off of who is playing and how they're playing. Hopefully, what this isn't is that the players felt like that it was already end of the. And it's already end of the season that it really doesn't matter. We could that they have no more pressure maybe, and that's why they're playing well now. No, because there's still pressure there. They're still within striking distance. You can still make the playoffs. You just gotta hope that you stay away from Brooklyn, right? We saw the New York Knicks play Brooklyn the other day, and probably the thing that takes over this whole Brooklyn and Knicks story, right, is the whole Kyrie Irving mandate, right? Is that as we see the Kyrie Irving saga, I should say, as we see the mandates for like the COVID mandates in New York start to loosen, you're starting to hear a lot of public questioning about the mandates that are still, or the restrictions that are still in New York City, right? Especially for some athletes and players. Now, sorry, I was watching an episode of Naruto. So, okay, let me get back my concentration. Right, so what we have here is the restrictions that are currently in New York City and plaguing the Brooklyn Nets, and you hear, and obviously there's a lot of individuals a lot of us that don't understand it, and we've gotten to points where things can be questioned, right? Or you're questioning on why they're doing certain things, but it's still boiled down to a simple thing, right? That there were people, and there are still people dying from COVID. And when it comes to the association, the mayor of New York isn't just worried about the 240-something players that are in the association. No, they're worried about the 24 million people in that goddamn city and state. So while you and your organization may not understand it, you have to understand that you and your organization in this particular instance really only play a game. And what you do really doesn't fully represent everything that's going on in New York City. And also, it doesn't represent like true feelings. Because I guarantee you, if Karl Anthony Towns was the guy on Brooklyn, I guarantee you wouldn't hear him saying the things that Kevin Durant is saying. And the reason is because he has lost his mother, he has lost his grandmother, he has lost direct family members that are near and dear to his heart to COVID. So he would never fix his mouth to go through that and say what Kevin Durant said. The only people that would say what Kevin Durant said is just people who have only been inconvenienced from COVID. And luckily, that's all that you have been, is inconvenienced. That you haven't had loss because of COVID. Heartfelt loss from individuals dear to you. So, yes, while we continue to get down a slope, and we've been down this slope, to be honest with you, where there are mandates and there are still rules about COVID what quite don't make sense to all of us. Remember, this is about the macro, not the micro. This is big picture, not little picture. I know as they loosen up, as they loosen up restrictions, you can what images and what thoughts that they have goes beyond your comprehension. See, being a leader of a football team or being a leader of a basketball team isn't being the leader of actual lives. Being the captain of a football team, a basketball team, isn't actually being a leader of people's lives and being in charge of actual lives. This is what your mayors, your governors, your presidents, your people in the military, you understand? These are stuff that people that I served with had to do. Actually make decisions that affected people's lives. And when you have those decisions to make, you can't just think, you just can't make decisions flippantly or irrationally or hastily. Because one little organization with 245 people in it want to know why this can't quite apply to us, instead of trying to figure out how you're going to keep 24 million people safe. When they were just going through an incident where they had their hospitals overflowing. People couldn't get buried. See, like I said, Kevin Durant can say what he said because he's only been inconvenienced by COVID. He hasn't had loss. I guarantee you somebody like Karl Anthony Towns, while the COVID restrictions in New York, while they start to loosen it up, may be inconvenient for him, you would never probably say what Kevin Durant said because he has witnessed and suffered true loss. Kevin Durant, you're out of pocket for what you said. Why would a governor or a mayor be clout chasing? He's the fucking mayor. To be honest with you, you're not on his radar. He's not on. You're on his radar, and he's on your radar, and you're trying to get on his radar. Like, he don't notice you, except for people who are sports fans. Well, he's a sports fan. If he wasn't a sports fan, you wouldn't even matter to him. We love sports. We love sports here. We love basketball. I love basketball. But Kevin Durant, in the space of sports, you matter. In the space of everything else, you're insignificant. You're a grain of sand on a beach, and I'm even less. I'm not even less. I'm the same grain of sand on the beach, from the view that they're looking at. They can't tell you any different than me. So yeah, Kevin Durant, you're a little out of pocket for what you like. That was a bad look, trying to call out a politician or somebody that is responsible for people's lives. Because like I said, you as a captain of a basketball team don't have the same responsibility as the mayor or a governor or a president or a squad leader or a platoon leader or a battalion leader or a company. You understand? You don't have those same responsibilities. So when they have to make decisions that actually affect the lives of people, think about that before you think that somebody is just making their decisions to clout chase, versus trying to make sure they actually keep people safe, as safe as possible, because nobody wants what we had 2 years ago. The images that we had 2 years ago, the scenarios that we had 2 years ago. Just saying, Kevin. Just think about that before you call somebody up next time. And folks, we're dwindling down. We got about the last 5 minutes here on the podcast. We had a nice little show today, right? Trying to figure out how you guys feel about Tom Brady being back. Which destination, if you're a football player, would you want to go to When you go to Tampa, Green Bay, Dallas, Kansas City, LA to play for the Rams, all the Chargers, Denver, Buffalo, Baltimore. I guess even Cleveland in a weird way. Yeah. Sorry, chill. But you know what I mean. It's a Baker Mayfield thing. But even Cleveland in a weird way. Like where? Who? Who's your NBA MVP so far? There's a couple of names out there. Ja Morant, Joel Embiid, LeBron James, Devin Booker, DeMar DeRozan, Jokic, Giannis. What do you feel about what Kevin Durant said? Those are 4 questions I'll probably be posing after the podcast. I thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for being with me. We're coming up on the 11:07 mark, which means it's coming out to the end of the podcast, regardless of what time we start. I really like to finish at 11:07. I shouldn't even be extending that shit past 11:07 anymore, to be honest with you. Except for on Wednesdays. Wednesdays I like to give you 3 hours. Every other day you get what you get. There's still so many stories we haven't even talked about, like Deshaun Watson. Right? We'll talk about him. We'll probably talk about Deshaun Wednesday night. Because it's crazy, like how he has so many suitors. Like after seconds of him being not guilty, he has all of these suitors. And if I'm not mistaken, he still has a no trade clause in his contract. So you can have as many suitors as you want, but who does he want to go to? I heard my boy Bart talk about an interesting trade on a 1-for-1. We'll talk about that possibly on. We'll talk about that on Wednesday. We'll get into a lot on Wednesday. As I said, we'll be keeping track of Washington Bullets. We'll be keeping track of the Atlanta Hawks. We'll be keeping track of the Charlotte Bobcats, because they're all ahead of our Hornets. They're all ahead of our Knicks, and we want to make sure those teams crumble so that my Knicks can rise. Knicks fans, don't be discouraged. There's still hope for you. I know Cam Reddish is out for the season. That really sucks. We were looking on evaluating him a little bit more. Maybe we'll get into that on Wednesday's show's podcast. Remember, Wednesday night we'll be live from Sharky's. Come out there, show them some support. We'll be there live recording. And I mean, social support for Sharky's. Like let's come to Sharky's. Like you can't help but hear me when you get to Sharky's. But social support to Sharky's. You know what I mean? Come through. Tell them Talent sent you. Get yourself a discount on your drinks, on your first drink. I don't have anything else to say except for, DJ MyT, you've seen me rambling here for a while. So, if you don't mind, pretty soon, I'm gonna need you to do me a favor, right? It's not a big favor, right? It's a little itty bitty, minuscule favor, but it has what I want to call it major consequences, right? It has major implications, right? Like it's small, but it holds a lot of weight. Like it talks softly, but it carries a big a big stick, if you know what I mean, right? One of those kind of things. So let me tell you what I need you to do. I need you to play my outro so I can stop rambling. Can you do that for me?
Sorry, B.
And y'all can watch me fuck up the rest of my food.
Tried. Honest.
I ain't gonna lie, I gotta use the bathroom already.
All the bandits in the world couldn't keep me.
Tacos and burritos and shit. They don't gotta be from Taco Bell to give you the Taco Bells. If you know what I mean.
Gonna share my talents with Podbean Live. Bing bong! Knew I'd take the pod there. Just a lot later than a lot of listeners thought. Last of the real gabbers. Well, maybe not the last. Munchkin got good mic skills. New, improved MyT podcaster. Potting down now. Last call for drinks. Bars closing. Sun's out. Heard the casino got a buffet breakfast. Don't want to go far. Wild night. Tired, B. Tired. My